The human who introduced himself as Commander Elias Kane wasted no time. Sirenia watched him move through the outpost with precision, inspecting systems, checking supplies, and assessing their defenses. He spoke little, but every word was measured, confident, and practical. He did not seem frightened by the distant flashes of destruction outside, nor by the knowledge that an entire fleet was closing in. Sirenia had never seen anyone so calm in the face of danger. Sirenia tried to understand him. Humans, she had read, were reckless and brave, but Kane was something more. He combined courage with strategy. He moved as though danger was just another problem to solve, not something to fear. It fascinated her, and a part of her feared she might not be able to keep up. "Sirenia," Kane said, turning toward her. "Tell me what you know about the invaders. Their numbers, their weapons, their habits." Sirenia hesitated. She had read reports, seen the holo maps, and memorized every detail of the fleet approaching her system, but her words felt insufficient. "They are overwhelming," she said finally. "We have patrols and scouts, but they destroy everything quickly. Their weapons are stronger than anything we have, and they are ruthless. They will not stop until everything is gone." Kane nodded slowly as if he had expected this. "Good," he said. "I need more than fear. I need specifics. Show me the maps. Show me their strengths and weaknesses. We will make a plan." For the first time, Sirenia felt a flicker of hope. The humans, or at least Kane, had a way of seeing opportunity in hopeless situations. She led him to the holomaps of the Letherian system, pointing out the colonies, the transport routes, and the locations of the largest fleets. Kane listened carefully, nodding occasionally, his eyes scanning the data as if reading a familiar language. "These people," he said, tapping the map, "they move predictably. They rely on strength and coordination, but they are overconfident. They assume fear will keep you from acting. That is their mistake." Sirenia blinked. Overconfident? Fear would paralyze anyone. But Kane did not seem concerned with fear. He seemed concerned with action. She had read about humans being clever, but seeing it in action was different. Kane's mind worked like a weapon, precise and sharp, cutting through panic and chaos to find solutions. Over the next few hours, Kane began teaching her and the small group of survivors how to prepare for the invaders. He started with simple exercises. He showed them how to move quietly, how to set traps, and how to use their environment to their advantage. He emphasized observation, patience, and timing. Even Sirenia, trained in Letherian tactics, found herself learning new things, ways to fight that her careful people had never considered. But it was not just about strategy. Kane taught them mindset. He spoke of courage, not as an absence of fear, but as the willingness to act despite fear. He told stories of battles long ago, of humans facing impossible odds and still fighting because they had something to protect. Sirenia listened intently, her admiration growing. The humans of legend had been more than fighters. They had been teachers, leaders, and examples of what a being could become when courage guided their actions. And now Kane was showing her that courage was contagious. Days passed and the invaders drew closer. Letherian defenses continued to fail in small skirmishes, but the outpost held thanks to Kane's guidance. Sirenia saw the changes in her people. Cadets who had once hesitated to act now moved with purpose. Civilians, guided by Kane's calm instructions, built barricades, reinforced power grids, and prepared evacuation routes. Even Sirenia found herself thinking and acting faster, her mind sharper, her fear replaced by determination. One evening, as the twin suns of her planet set beyond the horizon, painting the sky in shades of pink and gold, Kane approached her. "You are doing well," he said. "Better than most would in your position." Sirenia shook her head. "I'm only doing what you taught me. I don't know if I can really fight like humans." Kane smiled faintly. "You already are. Humans are not born brave. They become brave because they have no choice. Courage is a decision. Every time you act despite fear, you become stronger. You don't need to be human to fight like one. You need heart." Those words stayed with her. Sirenia thought of the colonies under attack, of the fleets being destroyed, of the innocent lives depending on them. Courage was no longer a fairy tale. It was a choice. And she was ready to make it. Training was intense. Kane pushed them harder each day. They ran drills, practiced combat in simulation rooms, and learned to coordinate attacks with precision. He taught them to trust one another, to anticipate movements, and to adapt quickly. By the end of the week, Sirenia and the others could move as a single unit. reacting with speed and intelligence that even the Litherian military had rarely achieved. During one exercise, Kane stood on a raised platform observing them. "You must understand," he said. "Your enemy will not fight by the rules. They will attack where you are weakest. You cannot rely solely on weapons or shields. You must rely on each other, and on your will to survive. That is your true weapon." Sirenia felt her chest swell with pride. For the first time she realized that humans had not been lying when they spoke of courage. It was not just about fighting. It was about hope, leadership, and determination. Humans had shown the galaxy that one being could inspire many, and now she could see it happening here. But the invaders did not wait. On the 8th day, the fleet appeared on the outskirts of the system, their ships casting dark shadows across the stars. The Litherian alarm systems blared, and panic rippled through the colonies. Ships scrambled to intercept the invaders, but they were no match. Kane assessed the situation quickly. "We will not stop them all," he said. "But we can buy time. We can protect the civilians, and we can show them that we will not yield." Sirenia followed him as he coordinated defenses. They directed transports to safer locations, reinforced key outposts, and set traps along predicted attack paths. Every decision was precise, every movement deliberate. And the survivors followed, trusting Kane's judgment, inspired by his calm courage. The first battle began at the edge of the system. Litherian patrol ships met the invaders, and explosions lit the void. Sirenia watched from the observation deck as smaller ships were destroyed, their crews lost despite their best efforts. Fear rose in her chest, but Kane remained calm. He gave orders clearly, instructing her and others on which routes to take, which defenses to reinforce, and how to maximize every advantage. Sirenia realized that what humans had achieved in legend was not just skill or luck. It was presence of mind, quick thinking, and the ability to act when others froze. Kane embodied all of it, and in following him, she felt a part of that legend come alive inside herself. The invaders approached the outpost where Sirenia, Kane, and the survivors were stationed. Kane inspected their weapons, checked their shields, and then turned to her. "We will face them here," he said, "and we will not falter." Sirenia felt fear, but also determination. She had learned to act, to think, to fight, and to lead when necessary. She looked at Kane, and for the first time she understood what the stories had meant. Humans were not invincible, but they had something stronger than that. They had courage, and they inspired it in others. As the first enemy ships came into view, Kane positioned the survivors and gave the signal. Energy beams lit the space, shields flared, and the outpost shook under impact. Sirenia moved with speed and precision, using every lesson Kane had taught her. She dodged blasts, coordinated defenses, and helped guide civilians to safety. Each action, each decision felt instinctive. She was no longer just a Litherian. She was becoming something more, something the stories of humans had promised. A warrior who acted despite fear, who inspired others by example. Hours passed in a blur of movement and noise. The invaders pressed relentlessly, but Kane's strategies held. Traps they had set disrupted enemy formations, and coordinated counterattacks forced the attackers to retreat temporarily. Sirenia's admiration for Kane deepened, but more than that, she felt pride in herself and her people. They were learning to fight, to survive, and to resist. Finally, as the first wave of enemy ships withdrew, the survivors gathered in the control room. Exhausted but alive, Sirenia realized how much had changed. The stories of humans were not fairy tales. They were truths waiting to be rediscovered. And now, under Kane's guidance, she and her people were learning to live those truths. For the first time, Sirenia felt hope for her world. And for the first time, she knew that humans were not gone forever. They lived on in courage and determination, and in the hearts of those who dared to act. The morning on the Veyari colony arrived quietly, with the twin suns rising over the horizon and painting the sky in shades of amber and rose. Daniel stretched, feeling the first warmth of sunlight on his face. Today promised to be different. Lyra had told him that the elders wished to test their growing partnership in a practical project, something that would challenge both their skills, creativity, and ability to work together. Daniel felt a mixture of excitement and nervousness. He had learned a great deal about the Veyari customs and rhythms of daily life, but this would be the first time they were asked to prove their combined abilities in front of the entire colony. When he stepped outside, Lyra was waiting for him at the edge of the plaza, her silver skin catching the early light. "Good morning, Daniel," she said with her usual calm smile. "The elders have chosen a project that will require both human ingenuity and Veyari understanding." "Are you ready?" Daniel adjusted his tool belt nervously. "I think so. What is it?" Lyra gestured toward a section of the colony where a small reservoir had started to overflow during the night. Water was spilling onto the surrounding walkways, threatening the delicate crystal structures. "The system has malfunctioned," she explained. "It will need careful adjustment, not only to repair the damage but to prevent future problems. The elders believe that working together you can find a solution." Daniel's heart raced. This was a serious challenge. It wasn't just a minor repair or a routine ritual. This project affected the colony itself. He glanced at Lyra, who gave him an encouraging nod. "We will do this together," she said. They approached the reservoir, and Daniel immediately noticed that the design of the system was different from anything he had seen before. Channels carved from natural crystal led the water in precise patterns, and glowing plants along the edges helped regulate the flow. He frowned. "We can't just add a pump like back on Earth," he said. "It would damage the whole system." Lyra smiled. "Correct. We must observe, understand, and act in harmony. The solution must respect the environment and the colony." Together, they began their investigation. Daniel carefully analyzed the channels and valves, noting where the water flow was obstructed. Lyra explained the natural cycles of the plants and how they absorbed water during excess periods. As they shared ideas, they began combining human engineering techniques with Veyari environmental knowledge. Daniel suggested small mechanical adjustments to the channels, while Lyra indicated where natural filters could be enhanced to guide water more effectively. At first, their plan encountered problems. A small misalignment caused water to spill onto a walkway, and Daniel groaned in frustration. Lyra remained calm. "Mistakes are part of the process," she said. "Do not let frustration cloud your mind. Observe and adjust." Taking a deep breath, Daniel recalibrated the channels, this time moving slowly and deliberately, paying attention to the flow and Lyra's guidance. The water began to follow the intended path, gliding smoothly into the reservoir without spilling. Lyra added a small adjustment with a plant root, guiding the last excess droplets into a storage basin. The system worked. The elders, who had been observing from a distance, nodded in approval. "You have demonstrated skill, patience, and collaboration," one of them said. "This is the true value of partnership." Daniel looked at Lyra amazed. "We did it," he said, relief and pride mingling in his voice. Lyra laughed softly. "We did. Together." The success of the project boosted Daniel's confidence. He realized that humans, with their creativity and adaptability, could complement Veyari precision and understanding in ways that neither species could achieve alone. He also realized how much he had learned from Lyra, not just technical skills, but patience, observation, and the importance of trust. Over the next several days, Daniel and Lyra continued to tackle small challenges around the colony. From repairing energy conduits to organizing community work tasks, they learned to anticipate each other's thoughts and movements. Daniel found that his human intuition often provided a fresh perspective, while Lyra's deep knowledge of the environment prevented potential mistakes. Their partnership became seamless and their trust in each other deepened. One afternoon, they were asked to assist with a new construction project, a multi-level observation platform that would allow the colony to monitor the surrounding terrain. Daniel's engineering expertise was essential for designing safe and functional supports, while Lyra's understanding of crystal growth patterns and environmental stability ensured the platform would integrate with the landscape without disruption. They worked side by side, Daniel explaining structural principles in simple terms, and Lyra offering insights about natural balance. The combination of human logic and Veyari intuition produced a design that was both elegant and durable. As they worked, Daniel noticed how natural it had become to rely on Lyra's input. He no longer felt like an outsider. He felt like a member of the colony, contributing meaningfully to its well-being. During a short break, Daniel and Lyra sat on a nearby ledge, enjoying the view. The twin suns cast long shadows over the crystalline buildings, and the soft hum of energy systems filled the air. "I've never worked with anyone like this before," Daniel admitted. "It's inspiring. I feel like we really make a difference together." Lyra smiled. The bond strengthens when effort and understanding are shared. "You have learned well, Daniel. You do not just act, you think, observe, and adapt." "That is rare," Daniel laughed. "I never thought I'd hear that from an alien elder." She chuckled. "You underestimate yourself. Humans are capable of surprising the universe if they try." Their laughter was interrupted by a sudden problem. One of the supporting pillars of the observation platform had begun to shift slightly, threatening the entire structure. Daniel's mind raced. "We need to stabilize it quickly," he said. "If it falls, the whole platform will collapse." Lyra analyzed the situation calmly. "We must reinforce the base while adjusting the weight distribution. The crystals will respond if guided correctly." Together they worked quickly. Daniel applied mechanical braces while Lyra used her knowledge of crystal expansion to redirect forces. Step by step they restored stability. By the time the elders arrived to check, the platform was secure and ready for use. "You have exceeded expectations," one elder said. "This demonstrates not only skill but also understanding of harmony and balance. Humans can indeed be remarkable allies." Daniel looked at Lyra, who gave him a proud smile. "We did this together," she said softly. The day ended with a quiet walk through the colony. Daniel marveled at how much he had grown in just a few weeks. He had arrived uncertain, overwhelmed, and out of place. Now he felt capable, confident, and connected. His accidental marriage, which once filled him with dread, had transformed into a journey of learning, trust, and mutual respect. That evening, they joined the colony for a communal meal. Daniel noticed the elders observing him with approving expressions. For the first time, he felt a sense of belonging. He had earned their respect not by force, but by combining human creativity with Veyari wisdom. The community welcomed him as more than a guest. They saw him as a contributor, a partner, and a bridge between species. As Daniel and Lyra cleaned up after the meal, she looked at him thoughtfully. "You have grown in ways I did not expect. Your understanding of our customs, combined with your human ingenuity, has strengthened the colony." Daniel felt a surge of pride. "I couldn't have done it without you," he admitted. "You've guided me, taught me, and trusted me. I feel lucky to have you as my partner." Lyra's eyes shone softly. "And I feel fortunate to have you, Daniel. Our bond has transformed from accident to choice. Together we can face any challenge." Daniel smiled, realizing that the journey had taught him far more than technical skills or cultural knowledge. He had learned the value of trust, collaboration, and respect. Humans might be seen as fragile or impulsive by other species, but in this partnership, he recognized how adaptability, creativity, and determination could achieve results beyond expectation. The following days brought more opportunities for collaboration. Daniel and Lyra worked on environmental stabilization projects, energy system optimizations, and community improvements. Each task reinforced their ability to anticipate each other's actions and insights. Daniel began to notice that other humans, if placed in similar situations, could also contribute meaningfully when paired with a community that valued collaboration. He realized that adaptability, creativity, and willingness to learn were human strengths, traits that could surprise even the most advanced civilizations. During one particularly quiet evening, Daniel and Lyra stood on the completed observation platform, gazing at the alien horizon. The sky shimmered with the light of the twin suns, and the faint glimmer of distant stars became visible. "I never imagined I could feel at home here," Daniel admitted. "But with you and with the colony, it feels possible." Lyra placed a hand on his shoulder. "Home is not only a place, Daniel. It is a feeling of connection, trust, and shared purpose. You have found that here." Daniel smiled, looking out at the landscape. "I've learned more than I could have imagined. Not just about your world, but about humans, too. We are capable of more than we often realize," she nodded. "And together we are stronger. That is the lesson of this bond." The colony woke under the soft light of the twin suns, the sky streaked with shades of pink and gold. Daniel stretched, feeling a mixture of excitement and anticipation. Today was not a day for simple repairs or lessons. The elders had gathered the community to celebrate the completion of a grand project, a network of observation platforms, environmental stabilizers, and energy optimizations that Daniel and Lyra had helped design and implement. It was the culmination of weeks of collaboration, testing, and learning. Daniel's heart thumped in his chest. He had started this journey uncertain, overwhelmed, and doubtful. Now he felt ready to see the results of their efforts. Lyra appeared at his side, her silver skin glowing softly in the sunlight. "Good morning, Daniel," she said, her voice warm. "Today the colony witnesses what humans and Veyari can achieve together. Are you prepared?" Daniel smiled, adjusting his tool belt. "I am. Let's show them what we've done." The two of them walked together toward the central plaza, where Veyari citizens had gathered. The air buzzed with anticipation. The elders, standing on a raised crystalline platform, gestured for Daniel and Lyra to demonstrate the systems they had worked on. Daniel glanced at Lyra. "Ready?" he asked. She nodded. Together, they began with the observation platforms, explaining their purpose and how they integrated with the colony's energy and environmental systems. Daniel spoke in simple, clear terms, showing how human ingenuity and problem-solving could enhance the Veyari's careful designs. Lyra translated, emphasizing how their collaboration had preserved harmony with the natural environment. The crowd watched attentively, nodding and murmuring in approval. Next, they demonstrated the energy stabilizers. Daniel explained how his mechanical adjustments allowed the solar converters to function more efficiently, while Lyra highlighted how the Veyari understanding of crystal expansion and plant-based filtration contributed to the overall stability. The combined approach ensured minimal waste, maximum efficiency, and a sustainable system for future generations. The final demonstration involved the environmental stabilizers, a network of channels, plants, and filters that regulated water flow, temperature, and soil quality. Daniel and Lyra guided a small group of Veyari citizens through the process, showing how human creativity could complement Veyari environmental knowledge. Daniel's hands worked confidently, adjusting mechanical elements while Lyra's gestures guided natural growth patterns. The system worked flawlessly, distributing water efficiently and maintaining balance in the surrounding ecosystem. The crowd erupted in soft applause and cheers. The elders stepped forward, their expressions proud. "This achievement demonstrates not only skill and understanding but also the power of collaboration," one elder said. "Humans, though different from us, can bring creativity, adaptability, and determination that strengthens our community. Daniel, you have shown that your species has great value." Daniel felt a surge of pride and humility. He glanced at Lyra, whose eyes shone with quiet approval. "We did it together," she said softly. "Yes," Daniel agreed. "Together." After the ceremony, the colony celebrated with a communal feast. Food was shared in intricate patterns. Songs filled the air and laughter echoed among the crystalline structures. Daniel sat beside Lyra, sharing bites of unfamiliar yet delicious dishes. They exchanged smiles and small jokes, feeling the joy of accomplishment and the warmth of companionship. During a quiet moment, Lyra leaned toward him. "You have grown beyond what I imagined," she said. "Your understanding, patience, and creativity have made a real difference. You are more than a guest. You are part of this colony." Daniel smiled, feeling a deep sense of belonging. "I could not have done it without you. You guided me, trusted me, and helped me learn. I've discovered that humans can do remarkable things, especially when we work together with others." She nodded. "And that is the essence of our bond. Trust, collaboration, and understanding. You have proven that humans are capable of more than we sometimes realize." In the following days, Daniel and Lyra continued to work together, not out of obligation but choice. They trained other humans and Veyari citizens to use the systems they had built, teaching lessons about harmony, observation, and collaboration. Daniel realized that humans' adaptability and problem-solving were valuable not only in crises, but in everyday life, enhancing community life and fostering innovation. One evening, as the twin suns set and the first stars appeared in the sky, Daniel and Lyra walked along a ridge overlooking the colony. The soft hum of energy systems mingled with the wind, and the crystal buildings glimmered in the fading light. "It's beautiful," Daniel said, feeling awe in his chest. "Yes," Lyra agreed. "And it is even more beautiful because we did this together. You have shown that humans are capable of remarkable things when we combine our strengths." Daniel paused, reflecting on the journey that had brought him here. He had arrived as a stranger, accidentally bound by an alien tradition. He had feared misunderstanding, failure, and isolation. Yet through curiosity, determination, and trust in Lyra and the colony, He had discovered not only a new culture but also the hidden potential within himself and his species. Humans were capable of creativity, innovation, and adaptability that could complement even the most advanced civilizations. "I never imagined it would turn out like this," Daniel admitted. "I thought I would struggle to adapt, but I've learned so much. About you, the Veyarian. Humans too," Lyra smiled. "And you have shown all of us that humans can be extraordinary partners. Your ingenuity, your willingness to learn, and your respect for our ways have strengthened the colony and our understanding of your species." Daniel looked at her, a deep sense of gratitude and admiration in his eyes. "I feel like this bond, our partnership, has changed me. I've discovered what humans can achieve when we are patient, creative, and willing to collaborate." She nodded. "And together we will continue to grow, learn, and build. That is the promise of this bond." In the weeks that followed, the colony thrived under the systems Daniel and Lyra had helped design. Water flowed efficiently, energy grids stabilized, and the observation platforms allowed citizens to monitor and protect their environment. The human and Veyari partnership became a model for future collaboration, showing that even species with different perspectives could create harmony when they combined their strengths. Daniel continued to work with Lyra, tackling new challenges and exploring new ideas. Together, they experimented with innovations that blended human creativity with Veyari environmental wisdom, discovering solutions that neither species could have achieved alone. Each success reinforced the value of humans in the galaxy, highlighting traits often overlooked: adaptability, resourcefulness, curiosity, and determination. One evening, as they prepared a new environmental enhancement, Daniel turned to Lyra. "I never imagined that being accidentally married could lead to all of this. I've gained so much knowledge, confidence, and friendship." Lyra smiled, taking his hand. "It was never just an accident, Daniel. It was a journey, a lesson, and a partnership. Together we have shown that humans can make a meaningful difference. You are not only a partner to me, but a symbol of what your species can achieve." Daniel felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The journey that began with confusion and fear had transformed into one of growth, discovery, and pride. He realized that humans, when given opportunity and guidance, could rise to challenges and achieve remarkable results. His accidental marriage, once a source of worry, had become the path that revealed the potential within himself and his species. As the twin moons rose and bathed the colony in soft silver light, Daniel and Lyra stood together, looking out over the thriving community. The hum of energy, the sparkle of crystal, and the quiet laughter of citizens filled the air. Daniel knew that this was only the beginning. Humans and Veyari could continue to learn from each other, creating a future that combined ingenuity, tradition, and harmony. Daniel turned to Lyra, a smile spreading across his face. "I think humans really can surprise the universe." She laughed softly. "And you have proven it, Daniel. Not just to me, but to everyone here. This bond, our partnership, has changed us all." In that moment, Daniel understood that the true value of humans was not in strength or dominance, but in curiosity, creativity, adaptability, and the ability to work together across differences. He had arrived as an outsider, but he was leaving, or rather, growing into, a bridge between worlds, a testament to the potential of his species, and a partner in building a future full of possibility, trust, and wonder. As night settled over the colony, Daniel and Lyra stood side by side, hands touching, hearts aligned. The journey had started with accident and confusion, but it had ended in understanding, achievement, and the quiet realization that humans, when open, curious, and determined, could truly make their mark in the galaxy. Together they would continue to learn, create, and thrive, proving that partnership, ingenuity, and trust were the greatest gifts any species could share. The twin moons reflected in the crystal structures. The wind carried the faint hum of the colony systems, and Daniel felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The journey of accidental marriage had become a story of human ingenuity, adaptability, and harmony with another species. And with Lyra by his side, he knew that anything was possible. Sirenia had always loved stories. Even in a galaxy full of wonders, she loved stories the most. Her people, the Lithirians, were tall and graceful, with silvery skin and eyes that glowed faintly in the dark. They had built great cities that floated in the skies of their homeworld, connected by bridges that sparkled with energy. Everything about Lithirian life was ordered, precise, and logical. Adventure existed mostly in books and hollows, carefully designed for entertainment. But among all the tales Sirenia heard as a child, the stories about humans were her favorite. Humans, according to ancient records, were small, fragile creatures from a distant planet called Earth. They were said to be fearless warriors, brave beyond reason, able to fight against creatures many times their size. They had led massive wars and survived against impossible odds. Some stories described humans fighting in space battles alone against fleets of alien invaders. Others told of humans who saved entire planets from extinction with nothing but their courage and wits. Sirenia often asked her teachers about humans. "Are humans real?" she would ask, her eyes wide. "Did they really fight like the stories say?" The teachers would smile politely and then dismiss the question. "Humans are a myth, Sirenia," said Master Lyrian, her history teacher. "They may have existed, but their warrior tales are exaggerated. Humans are extinct and their planet is long gone. You should focus on Lithirian history. It is full of real accomplishments." Sirenia frowned every time she heard that. She wanted humans to be real. She wanted to believe in their courage, their bravery, their spirit. The more she read about Lithirian achievements, the more she felt something missing. Her people were logical, careful, and excellent at strategy. But they lacked the reckless courage humans were said to have. Humans took risks that no one else dared. Humans acted with heart. Her curiosity grew over the years. She secretly read old archives, finding hollows of humans in battle. The records were incomplete, sometimes damaged, but they showed humans standing tall against overwhelming odds. Humans alone, outnumbered, outgunned, facing alien beasts and advanced machines. The humans did not flee. They fought. They adapted. They survived. Despite the evidence, the adults around her still treated humans like fairy tales. "Stories for children," they said. "Do not waste your time chasing myths." Sirenia had learned to hide her fascination. She focused on her studies, learned the ways of her people, and trained in basic combat simulations. Lithirians were not warriors by instinct. Their skill came from careful planning, technology, and coordination. But every night, when the sky glimmered with countless stars, Sirenia imagined what it would be like to have courage like the humans. Then everything changed. The first warning came as a ripple through the Lithirian communication network. An unidentified fleet had been detected near the edge of the galactic sector. Ships larger than any Lithirian cruiser, bristling with weapons, were moving fast toward the Lithirian system. The Council of Elders convened immediately, debating the threat. Sirenia watched the discussion from a distance, her heart racing. "They could be pirates," one elder suggested. "No," another countered. "This formation is too precise. They are a military fleet, and they are coming straight for us." Sirenia felt a chill. Her world, her ordered life, was about to be disrupted. The stories of humans returned to her mind. If humans had been real, if their courage had been real, maybe they could have saved worlds like hers from fleets like this. Within days, the Lithirian defense forces mobilized. Ships launched from the skyports, energy shields hummed, and weapon systems calibrated for battle. But something felt wrong. The invaders were unlike anything the Lithirians had faced. They did not behave predictably. They attacked with reckless precision, and they seemed willing to sacrifice anything to achieve their goal. Sirenia watched from the observation deck as young cadets practiced battle maneuvers. She noticed the fear in their eyes, the hesitation in their movements. The Lithirians were brilliant, but they were not brave. They calculated risks, but they did not throw themselves into danger with wild courage. She remembered the tales of humans, charging fearlessly into impossible situations, and felt a pang of longing. When the first scout ships of the invaders entered the Lithirian system, panic spread quickly. The invaders were fast, agile, and brutal. They destroyed mining stations, communication relays, and patrol ships in minutes. The Lithirians' precision and planning could not match the raw unpredictability of the enemy. Sirenia found herself in the center of the chaos. She had been assigned to a supply transport, responsible for evacuating civilians from the outer colonies. Her heart pounded as she navigated the transport through debris and attacks, trying to remain calm. She thought of the humans. She wished they were real, wished one could appear and show her how to face such danger without fear. Then, as if answering her unspoken wish, the transport's sensors picked up something unusual on a remote outpost near the edge of the system. A life signal, very old, very faint, but it was human. At first, she could not believe it. Humans were extinct. There could be no humans here. Yet the signal was unmistakable. Against all protocol, she set a course for the outpost. Something in her told her that this was important, that this could change everything. She did not fully understand why she felt drawn to it, only that the stories had taught her one lesson. Courage could appear where least expected. When she arrived at the outpost, she found a massive chamber filled with advanced technology. In the center was a cryogenic pod, sealed and humming with faint energy. Inside was a human, preserved perfectly despite the centuries that had passed. The figure was tall, with strong features, and wore armor that looked like it belonged in the legends she had read. Her breath caught. Could this be real? Could the humans have survived? She approached the pod cautiously, scanning it for security or traps. Nothing. Just the human, silent and still, waiting. Sirenia felt a mix of fear and awe. For the first time, the stories she had loved as a child were no longer tales. They were real. And somehow this human, whoever he was, might hold the key to saving her world. But awakening him would be dangerous. She had no idea what might happen. Humans were powerful, unpredictable. The legends had never mentioned the cost of that power, and yet she could not turn away. She activated the pod's awakening sequence, holding her breath as the cryogenic fluid drained and the machinery began its work. Minutes felt like hours. The human's eyes opened and he looked around calmly, as if assessing the situation with perfect clarity. He did not panic. He did not scream. He simply stood, stretched, and surveyed the chamber. Sirenia realized with a shock that she had expected fear. But humans, she thought, did not always fear. Humans acted. Humans survived. The human's gaze met hers, sharp and intelligent. He spoke in a deep, commanding voice. "Where am I?" Sirenia swallowed hard. She could only nod toward the chaos outside the outpost. "Your people. Or your stories. They might help us," she said. "We are under attack." The human stood and studied the starfield through the observation window. "Then we do not have time to waste," he said. At that moment, Sirenia knew that everything was about to change. The myths were true. Humans were warriors, and if anyone could show her people how to fight with courage, it would be him. For the first time in her life, Sirenia felt a spark of hope that was stronger than fear. Daniel woke before dawn, his mind buzzing with the events of the previous days. Living among the Veyari had been far more complicated than he expected, yet he found himself increasingly fascinated by their customs. Today, however, promised to be challenging. Lyra had mentioned a practical test of sorts, a way to see how well he understood their culture and rhythms. Daniel wasn't sure if he was ready, but he trusted her guidance. When he stepped outside, Lyra was already waiting, perched gracefully on the edge of a crystal fountain that reflected the rising suns. "Good morning, Daniel," she said, her voice calm and melodic. "Today we practice daily harmony. You will join the colony in morning routines." Daniel blinked. "Morning routines?" She nodded, smiling. "All work, all movement, all actions have a purpose. You will see." The first task was deceptively simple. Daniel followed Lyra to the main plaza, where Veyari citizens were moving in synchronized patterns, sweeping, planting, adjusting solar panels, and preparing food. Daniel's job, he quickly discovered, was not just to mimic the motions but to anticipate them, to align himself with the rhythm of the community. At first, he felt completely clumsy. He knocked over a small tray of glowing fruits, earning a soft sigh from a nearby elder. Lyra leaned over and whispered, "Do not worry. Focus on feeling the pattern, not just copying it." Daniel tried again. This time he watched the flow of movements, timing his actions with those around him. Slowly, awkward motions became coordinated and he began to experience a strange satisfaction. He realized that the Veyari were not concerned with perfection, but with effort, attentiveness, and respect for the community. After the morning tasks, Lyra led him to a small workshop filled with machines and tools. "Now," she said, "we will combine human skill with Veyari understanding." Daniel grinned. This was more like his element. He and Lyra examined a malfunctioning water recycler, discussing both technical and environmental solutions. Daniel proposed a human-style repair, using mechanical adjustments and replacement parts. Lyra countered with a suggestion to use naturally occurring minerals to enhance the filtration system. Together, they created a hybrid solution that was more effective than either method alone. An elder observing their work nodded approvingly. You are learning not only the skills but also the balance between thought and action, the elder said. Daniel glanced at Lyra, who gave him a small, encouraging smile. We complement each other, she said simply. The day continued with more lessons, each one blending cultural practice and practical work. Lyra taught him how to navigate the colony's rituals, from ceremonial greetings to methods of offering thanks, while Daniel introduced her to human problem-solving techniques. Their partnership, once accidental, was beginning to feel natural. However, not everything went smoothly. That afternoon, they were asked to participate in a communal celebration, a traditional Veyari festival involving movement, song, and shared offerings. Daniel tried to follow the intricate steps, but his timing was off. At one point, he accidentally stepped on Lyra's foot, causing her to stumble. A small group of Veyari nearby tittered softly, amused but not unkind. Daniel froze, mortified. "I'm so sorry," he exclaimed. Lyra laughed, steadying herself. "It is all right. Even the stars occasionally collide. What matters is that you try." Her light-hearted response eased his embarrassment, and Daniel smiled, realizing that mistakes were part of learning. He tried again, this time moving more carefully, observing the subtle cues in her posture and expression. Slowly, he began to follow the rhythm more accurately, and by the end of the festival, he even managed a small solo step that earned a soft cheer from the crowd. After the festival, Lyra and Daniel retreated to a quiet area near the edge of the colony, overlooking the sprawling landscape. "You did well today," she said, sitting beside him. Daniel sighed, rubbing his forehead. "I feel like I still have so much to learn." "I keep making mistakes, and I don't want to embarrass you or the colony," Lyra smiled gently. "Mistakes are not failure. They are the path to understanding. You are learning faster than you realize." Daniel looked at her, admiration in his eyes. "You make it sound so easy." "How do you stay so calm?" "I focus on what can be done, not what cannot," she replied. "And I trust the person beside me." That evening, Daniel reflected on the day's events while preparing his equipment for the next morning. He realized that the Veyari approach, though slow and deliberate, encouraged creativity, observation, and empathy. Humans often rush solutions or overlook details, but here, patience and attention to detail were strengths. He began to see how his human ingenuity, combined with Veyari methods, could accomplish things neither species could achieve alone. Over the next few days, Daniel and Lyra continued to explore the limits of their partnership. One morning, they discovered a small malfunction in the colony's energy grid. Human methods alone might have fixed it temporarily, but Lyra suggested combining his mechanical adjustments with a natural energy conduit found in the local environment. Together, they rerouted the system, stabilizing the grid more efficiently than either method would have allowed. Their success drew the attention of other Veyari, who began to approach Daniel with questions about human tools, techniques, and problem-solving strategies. Lyra translated and explained patiently, highlighting Daniel's ingenuity while ensuring that no one felt overshadowed. The colony, initially wary of the human outsider, began to accept him as a valued contributor. Despite the growing respect, Daniel still experienced moments of self-doubt. He sometimes wondered whether his presence in the colony was truly beneficial, or if he was simply an anomaly tolerated because of Lyra's influence. Each time she reassured him with small gestures, sharing food, offering guidance, or simply acknowledging his efforts. Her support reminded him that partnership required mutual trust and encouragement, not perfection. One afternoon, while examining a minor structural flaw in a residential complex, Daniel slipped on the smooth crystal surface. Lyra caught him, steadying him with a gentle hand. "Careful," she said, smiling. "Even the strongest must sometimes lean on another." Daniel felt warmth in his chest. He realized that this bond, accidental as it had been, was teaching him about reliance, trust, and the value of learning from another. Humans often prided themselves on independence, but here, collaboration and shared knowledge were equally powerful. As the week progressed, Daniel and Lyra faced increasingly complex challenges. A minor storm threatened to disrupt the colony's energy supply, and the two worked tirelessly to reinforce the systems. Daniel proposed human-style stabilizers, while Lyra suggested adjustments based on environmental patterns and local materials. Their combined solution successfully mitigated the risk, earning quiet praise from the elders. During these tasks, Daniel observed the subtle ways in which humans could complement Veyari life. His curiosity, adaptability, and problem-solving often uncovered solutions that Lyra alone would not have considered. In turn, her deep understanding of the ecosystem, rituals, and communal balance ensured that their efforts harmonized with the colony's culture. Together, they became an unexpectedly effective team. One evening, as the twin suns dipped below the horizon, Daniel and Lyra sat atop a hill overlooking the colony. The sky was painted in shades of gold and violet, and the soft glow of the crystalline structures sparkled in the fading light. "I never thought I would enjoy this," Daniel admitted. "Living in a culture so different from my own. It feels overwhelming sometimes, but also fascinating," Lyra nodded. "It is the unfamiliar that teaches us the most. You are learning not only about our world, but also about yourself." Daniel smiled. "I think I'm beginning to enjoy it. And you make it easier. You make me feel capable even when I feel clumsy or lost." She reached for his hand, her touch light but reassuring. "That is the bond, Daniel. We lift each other. Together, we grow." For the first time since arriving, Daniel felt a sense of belonging. He was no longer just a human outsider navigating alien customs. He was a partner, a contributor, and a learner in a world that challenged him in every way. He realized that the accidental marriage, once a source of panic, had become a journey of growth, trust, and understanding. By the end of the week, Daniel had transformed in subtle but significant ways. His movements were more deliberate, his awareness sharper, and his confidence growing. He could navigate rituals, solve technical problems with Lyra, and interact with the colony without fear of offending anyone. More importantly, he had begun to see the value of patience, observation, and collaboration, qualities that humans often overlooked but that proved invaluable here. Lyra, too, noticed the change. She admired his determination, creativity, and willingness to learn. Their partnership, once awkward and accidental, was now marked by mutual respect, laughter, and shared accomplishments. The colony watched with quiet approval as the human and the Veyari woman moved through their daily life, learning from each other, supporting one another, and finding harmony in their differences. One evening, as they prepared for another day of work, Daniel glanced at Lyra and said, "You know, I never imagined a week like this could teach me so much. Not just about your culture, but about myself. I think humans really can surprise the universe after all."